What's going on, guys? It's Red Bull Tanker, and welcome back to Historical Board Gaming's The Korean War. This is the overview for turn 3, and I'm happy. I guess I'm happy to say that some action has finally taken place in the game. So let's get going. Alright, as always, we start with the North Koreans. The North Koreans had 28 IPC to spend. They bought 4 infantry and 4 artillery. For combat this turn, as you can see, the North Koreans have crossed the parallel and have entered into the territory of South Korea. Let's see here. Just moving right along, that was the only attacks they made this turn, so that was pretty simple to do. I realized I have completely run out of. I'm gonna have to buy more supply token. I'm gonna have to purchase supply tokens because I'm already out of supply tokens for the communist forces. So I am. If you see any of these mech infantry with this gray rondel under it, that also is representing supplies on top of the supply tokens for Axis and Allies Guadalcanal. Non-combats, the North Koreans didn't really have much. They just they moved troops out of the north in Haeju down into Pyongyang. What else did they do? That was pretty much it. And then they dropped their 4 infantry and 4 artillery into Pyongyang, giving the forces there in Pyongyang a little bit of a boost. I think now they're at, what are they at? Oops. Let's see. They're at, 8 infantry, 6 artillery, a tank, and 2 fighters sitting in Pyongyang. Let's see here. So then at the end of the turn, considering that no one's captured any IPC territory yet, we're still just giving the IPC at the end of the turn. North Korea got 28 IPC. Alright, next, going up north. Since this is turn 3, China is not doing anything this turn. No purchases, no nothing, since we're doing every other turn purchases for them. But the Sleeping Dragon, well, would it be a dragon? Yeah, the Sleeping Dragon is up there, plotting and preparing itself to eventually maybe enter this conflict. Alright, coming down to the south. The South Koreans. Let's see here. The South Koreans had 30 IPC to spend. They bought 5 supplies and artillery and then 7 infantry. They conducted no combat this turn. They did do quite a bit of non-combat, which was just spending supplies. Let's see here. What'd they do? Oh, there was more down here. So they moved a bunch of their supplies from Busan to Pohang, and then they also moved their supplies out of Seoul down here to Osan and Wonju to back up the Allied forces there, and then they did take one of their infantry. They took one of their infantry from Gwangju, and they moved it up to Cheongju. At least, kind of starting to create a semi-line of defense here, to bar the approaching North Koreans from reaching Busan. Though it just, I don't know. Again, guys, like I keep saying, I think something was wrong. I feel like I said, I think some stuff was played wrong, because if this game lasts 12 turns and the North doesn't attack until turn 3. I mean, let's see here. Let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I mean, it's 12 turns. in a long shot, it could almost take 12 turns for them to reach Pusan. So that doesn't give the Allies much time to really do much. So, yeah. This is definitely, like, the idea of this game is fun. It's just that some stuff probably needs to get changed around a lot. Anyways, so going back to it, after that, so the South Koreans just deployed all their forces here into Pusan. They did the 7 infantry and the 5 supplies, which, hold on, I gotta see one thing. Oh, I gotta add that, so I have to do that next time too. Or I'll do that when I talk about the Americans. But so yeah, the 7 infantry, the 5 supplies for the South Koreans, and then the South Koreans, because they are getting artillery, it has to go here. And I'll just jump ahead real quick. This UN transport with infantry will also transport this artillery. So that's the thing with South Korea. If they want artillery, tanks, fighters, they can't buy ships. Or they can't buy ships and bombers, but if they want to buy artillery, tanks, or anti-aircraft guns, they have to be transported by a transport, so either the UN or the US has to provide that transport. But transport rules from Axis and Allies 1940 do apply, so the UN is loading this transport with one of their own infantry as well. Alright, so then at the end of the turn, South Korea collected 30 IPC. Oops. Alright, over to the Americans. The Americans had 58 to spend. They bought a mech, 5 supplies, 2 fighters, an infantry artillery, transport, and gosh, I am screwing up with the American purchases today, and a destroyer, which also needs to come on here. Okay, the U.S. had no combat this turn. They did do a little bit of combat, or they did some non-combat. They took their They spent 1 supply from Seoul to move their infantry and artillery out of Seoul into Osan. They also moved their fighter from Seoul to Osan as well. And then, other than that, on the non-combat, they also just continued to get their forces moving forward. They will have, they will be getting fighter reinforcements on turn 4. Those will get dropped into the game, as far as I know, because once you get to here, it's yeah. So once they get to this zone on the next turn, then they get to place those units. Whether it be, because again, from the rules and the supply track, they don't match. But I think really, if for the U.S., they can either deploy their forces here in Pusan, here in Masan, or on the Korean Strait, or they can just put them right, or they can just keep them on the transports and throw them right here into the Korea Straits. So we'll have to see about that. Alright, so then, like I said, the U.S. purchased an infantry, an artillery, 2 fighters, a transport, a DD destroyer, and then over there in Pusan, map's so much smaller, I gotta get used to it. And then over in Pusan, they did place their mech, but I forgot to put down the 5 supplies, so Pusan has now become a pretty big supply base for the Allies. Right there. So that is 10 supplies in Pusan. Alright, so then at the end of the turn, the U.S. did save 6 IPCs, so at the end of the turn they collected 50 plus the 6 that they saved. So the U.S. has 56 for next turn. Alright, the UN. So, like I said, for purchases, the UN only bought a transport and an infantry this turn. They saved 9 IPC. There was no combat. Non-combats, they took this infantry and artillery off of Busan and moved it to Gwangju. They also moved their fleet from the Korea Straits over here to this sea zone, Sea Zone 4, right here. And then, just like the Americans, they are pushing their troops along the supply route to Korea. Let's see here. Yeah, and that's it for the UN. And so at the end of the turn, the UN collected 20 plus the 9 that they saved, so the UN will have 29 for next turn. All right. Well, that's going to be it for turn 3. No changes in income or anything like that. We're just motoring right along. Turn 3 technically is the first 3 months of 1951, so this is already kind of, yeah, I'm not sure. Like I said, definitely probably either I'm playing the rules wrong or just some stuff needs to get, there just needs to be like, I just need to rework a couple things for my own thing. But, I mean, it is what it is, and I mean, we're myself and Airsoft Commando are enjoying this game so far, and we'll just have to see where it takes us. So that is going to be it for turn 3, and we will see you guys next time for turn 4. So until then, guys, as always, take care.